Shall we wipe away the debt? Question mark?
Well, apparently we've tried that something like millions of times before, and it never turned out well.
Yeah.
So, somehow, following this note will lead us to not doing that.
Hey, the deal's off, you hear me?
Unstable.
The deal is off! Give her back!
Hurry!
Give her back!
What?
Fine, are you mad?
No, you will not get caught in between. Come!
It is uncomfortable enough as it is!
Give her back, you son of a bitch!
It's ready! Go!
No.
Shut
down the machine!
No!
Shut it
Anna!
down! Shut down the
Anna!
machine! Now do it!
Oh, I get it.
Give me back
What
my
happened?
daughter!
Her finger's gonna get cut off by this.
Oh. Anna's not your lady friend. She's your daughter friend.
But how would they have known in advance that she had powers? Like, isn't that the point? I'm confused about that.
No, they brought her from the other world and gave her powers.
I'm so sorry.
By, like, transplanting her in another world, they, like, did experiments on her to make her have powers. Okay.
Open door.
Gone. Booker.
So Anna and Elizabeth are the same person.
Yeah.
You shared this
Anna
room
DeWitt.
with your regret
A.D.
for almost 20 years.
Oh, my.
Until one day, a man came to you and offered you a chance at redemption.
Okay.
A chance for us to be together.
This game has gotten so trippy. Just saying
I
something.
told you it would.
We already know it works. The question is, will he?
Anna.
Do you suppose he branded himself as some sort of penance? Don't see the point. What's done is done. What's done will be done. I suppose the brand is his hair shirt,
girl.
as he is ours.
His hair shirt? Is that an expression in
Not one I've ever heard of.
anywhere?
Wipe away the debt.
See, he's starting to put his story together.
Wipe away
You're quite fond of this theory of yours.
He's manufacturing new memories from his old ones.
No?
Wipe
The brain adapts.
I should know. I lived it.
Interesting.
Booker, wake up. Booker, wake up. This is where it started.
I sold you. I sold you.
Wow.
To your credit, you did try to weasel out of the deal.
This is all Comstock's fault. What if I went back? Killed him before he did any of this?
Things get set in motion.
How would one know how far back to go?
That's the only way to do it.
We
Go
also
back
tried
to
to
when he was
interfere and
born,
failed.
and I'll smother
Yeah.
the son of a bitch in
Not
his
only did
crib.
we fail, but we also failed in such a way that it, like, has repercussions that have been visible throughout the rest of the game.
Yeah.
The finger thing. So, like, that clearly always happened.
I mean, Time Machine sort of taught us that, like, we can't really interfere with these things without, causing our own problems.
Yeah. So the game just gonna keep having us go up to this goddamn lighthouse over and over again?
Yeah, but it's part of the game. I mean, it's probably better than going back to that, like, Fink Square repeatedly.
That's a fair point.
Okay, so we're here again.
Booker, are you sure this is what you want?
I'm literally not even sure what we're doing.
It's the only way to undo what I've done to you.
Booker DeWitt.
Very literal, not a metaphor.
Born again.
Why
The
are we
sheep is
back
not a
here?
metaphor.
This isn't the same place, Booker.
Of course it is. I remember.
Are you ready to leave behind all
You're
that
not-
has gone before? Wipe the slate clean.
Who are you?
You chose to walk away, but in other oceans, you didn't. You took the baptism. And you were born again as a different man. It all has to end. To have never started. Not just in this world, but in all of ours.
Smother him in the crab.
Smother, 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 smother,
Wait,
smother.
what?
Before the choice is made. Before you are reborn.
name shall you take, my son?
He's Zachary Comstock. He's Booker DeWitt.
Oh.
And both.
What?
So he stole his daughter from himself? in the past.
Yeah.
I don't know that I really buy that.
In a different dimension.
They each represented a piano key, of course.
So, game
Are we
over.
there yet?
Saving. We did it? Alright, well that was the game.
It was a pretty irrational game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was weird. That was like a revelation that I like it was cool, but I feel like the way they executed it was not very effective.
No, I don't think they did any service to the story they were trying to tell at all, actually.
Yeah.
Like, there were a lot of good ideas they had that they either, like, didn't set up at all, like the character reveal at the end there, or that they just, like, had to, like, tell you because they didn't set them up properly.
Yeah. I think that there was a way to tell this story that was way better than what they did.
I agree.
Honestly. Like, I like the gameplay. I like
The
the
gameplay was
mechanics.
good. I like the world, obviously. They're very good at making those sort of...
I think that really the only issue I have is that, like, the way they presented the story was so convoluted.
I mean, they really made a mess of the whole, like, jumping between parallel worlds thing.
Yeah,
Because that's when the story started falling apart.
Right.
Because, like, there was never really a point where what they were trying to say about it felt, like, stable or consistent. It was just sort of like,
Right.
oh, like, I can, like, bring things in from another world. Oh, we can, like, go to another world.
Right.
Oh, we're traveling to different worlds, and there's ramifications, but they
Right.
never explored the
And
ramifications.
then there was that weird, like, metaphysical lighthouse world.
Yeah.
It's just, it doesn't work for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. Like, I don't know, there was definitely a point in this game where I sort of, like, stopped, like, being on the same page with what was going on and started just being like, I'm hoping this will work out, and I feel like ultimately it didn't really do what I wanted it to do.
I wonder if we played the game faster instead of, like, because this took us a long time to do.
It did.
We got this game, like, 3 months ago? 2 months ago?
Yeah, I think it was,
March.
like, about 3 months ago.
It's been a while. I feel like, I wonder... Oop, you're singing now. I wonder if we had played the game a little faster, we'd have more perspective on the game.
See, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, especially since, like, at the very least, like, I'm going back and, like, watching these videos to tag them. 'Cause
Right.
That's how
a
I
good
always
point.
do this.
That's a good point.
And, like, I don't feel like it's just, it lacks, like, an internal consistency of its own message. I feel like it's the bottom line. Because, like, obviously there's not going to be, like, a hard internal consistency to something that's, like, about the fluidity of like, choice and change and destiny
Right.
over the course of, like, an infinite number of worlds. But, like, it's also just, like, I don't, like, the game really, like, I lost touch with it when we sort of fought Daisy, I think was, like, the real killer for me. Because it's like, we saved Chenlin, then, like, we found his weapons, and then we, like, changed back to some other world.
Right.
And then, like, we were just, like, in some random other world, and then we never really dealt with why that was,
Yeah.
or, like,
From
what
that-
it meant to be in another world.
Basically,
like,
from the point where we decided to go to a separate world permanently
yeah.
and change things to get Chen Lin
Yeah.
was when Elizabeth basically spent the entire time explaining what was happening.
Yeah, and,
know
like,
what I
that was not great. That
Yeah.
was not
Like,
the way
she
that
spent
should
a lot
have
of
been.
time going over every single, like, we go to a new place, and suddenly she had an explanation as to why it was possible that what was happening was happening.
Yeah, and then, like, you know, like, her mother's alive, and she's like, oh, like, it's the reflection of how much I hated her.
Right, and some
and,
weird
like,
ghost thing.
yeah, like, there was, like, a couple, like, you're right, like, from that point, anytime a major plot point occurs,
She had to explain it.
She had to just straight up explain it because, like, they didn't,
Which is
really,
really lazy writing.
which is, like, textbook bad storytelling.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think that the concept is really cool. I think that the gameplay is really cool.
I agree on both
but
counts.
I think the execution
but, like,
of
the
the
actual,
story
yeah,
was
the actual
lackluster
story,
at best.
the actual
Nothing-
story as they told it. Like, it's
Yeah.
not even that, like, everything, like, the world they set up and is, like, like they couldn't have done something good with it.
Right.
It's just the way that they did it.
Well, I mean, here's what the actual story was. Like, so Booker DeWitt in one dimension,
Yeah.
like, had some problems in his past in fighting wars. He then went on to go and get baptized, and he became Zachary Comstock. At which point he somehow met the Lutesses and figured out how to travel through dimensions.
Yeah.
Stole another dimension's version of his daughter for whatever, reason the Lutesses convinced him. Some sort of experiment, I guess. Traveled to this...
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it also bothers me, like...
What was his motivation?
Yeah, like, none of the motivation fully makes sense, and also just, like, the Lutesses are, like, both, like, constantly trying to, like, ruin her life and constantly trying to save her life, but not in, like, an interesting quantum way, in, like, a really confusing, like, why are they ever doing
Also,
either? We just don't know.
We never found out what the effect of the songbird of the cage was for her
Yeah,
thing.
that's, I mean, I don't...
Yeah.
And, like, we weren't wearing the handkerchief on our hand from when we got stabbed, like, at the end of the game either, for no particular reason.
So do you think the Lutesses brought us from another dimension to stop ourselves because we were getting out of hand, or because they were just fucking around?
See,
like,
that's the
what was
thing.
their
I literally
motivation?
have no idea what their motivation is in any timeline. Like, it's like I don't understand the good them or the bad them.
Yeah. Yeah. It just makes no sense.
It's just kind of messy.
All right. Well, what did you like about the game?
I mean, the world is a big part of it. Like, the company that does these excels at making, like, a really immersive sort of like unique world experience that actually feels like its own thing. I'm not a huge fan of first-person shooters, but, like, I definitely found this fun to play.
Right, which is saying something for sure.
Yeah. The powers weren't maybe as deep or interesting as I wanted them to be, but, like, they still added a dimension to the gameplay that made it more fun to be doing shooter things.
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely... The powers... I mean, obviously it's not an explanation, but at least the powers felt a little better that we took a step at Rapture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just noting the fact that Rapture exists in the same world and that you could go there sort of denotes to me that the powers could have come from the same kind of technology.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I liked that. One of the things that I was really looking forward to in this game that didn't actually happen was the ability to use Elizabeth's power to go to multiple places in time.
Yeah.
I expected her, like, your ability to, like, escape battles or move from one area of a battlefield to another by walking through another time or another dimension. You know what I mean? Because there was a lot of that, like... There was a lot of that stuff in the trailer where she was, like, pulling stuff out of one area, and then we're revealing, parts of the 80s and stuff.
Yeah.
I sort of half expected us to be like, oh, we need to get to the other side of this cliff, so let's go through this dimension, and then now we're walking through Paris, and then, oh, let's go through back here, and now we're on the other side of the cliff.
Yeah.
Or what have you. I thought that was going to be really cool, to see all these different worlds and timelines blending together. And the only place that really happened was within the continuity of the world.
Right.
You know what I mean? There were slightly different versions of the continuity, but it was the same world. It wasn't the 80s.
It never felt like a big... It also just... Part of the thing that bothered me about that aspect where within the game you were in a separate dimension, but you were still basic... Like, there was just nothing that denoted that you were in... I mean, there was the black and white for when you were looking from one world into another.
Right.
But there was nothing that was ever like, oh, I'm in, like, the world where, like, this is...
Yeah.
I mean, like, there were the posters for Booker, I guess, but,
Yeah,
like,
and
other than that, like...
There was a lot of red banners.
Yeah, but, like, even that could have been the same, because we had never explored those places.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. Like, you need something familiar in order for an alternate dimension to sort of, like, have weight.
And also, again, when we would go to different places, like, Elizabeth pointed out, oh, the red banners are here. That must mean that the Vox Populi are in power. It's just like, come on, can't you show us that? Why do you have to explain it every step of the way?
I don't know. Like,
I think Elizabeth was honestly the worst part of this game.
Like,
which is sad because it's the coolest idea.
Like, I like what she was supposed to be a lot, and I feel like I maybe, like, somehow see more of that than you... Like, I totally understand what you're saying while you say that she's the worst part of it. But I think, and like I sort of mentioned earlier, I think it really speaks more to the problem with the game is the writing.
Yeah.
She represents the worst aspect of the writing.
Right. We talked about that
But,
before.
like, yeah, like, I don't think it's necessarily a flaw with her character. Her character is interesting in terms of what the story is trying to say.
It just
But
didn't say it.
Exactly. I don't think it does it correctly.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, but I think the bottom line is we like the game.
I mean, I certainly like the game. I'm just disappointed because, like, for various reasons, I think both of us were expecting to maybe not, like, love the game, but to like the game a lot at the very least.
Yeah.
And, like, I'm just sort of coming away from it being like, it was a solid game.
Yeah.
Not really, like, anything more than that. Like, it was a solid game.
It's just depressing because I feel like the story really hadn't.
This is fine. It's
What?
One line, I don't. Well, he'll figure it out.
So we're singing now? Is that
It's the
Elizabeth?
guitar thing. I think. I think this is the guitar and the boy in the basement.
Right. Alright. That's interesting.
But then now it's too short. Now it's one too short.
Yeah, it's Elizabeth.
Good camera work.
Yeah.
Good.
This is Crow. Yeah.
This is very indicative of what this whole game is
Of
about.
how they treated the kid.
Good idea, but not excellent execution.
Yeah.
Look, this guy scratching his face.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think that like the game was cool, and I think that it had an awesome opportunity to really hit it, and I
Yeah.
feel like it just missed the mark. And I feel like that's more a detriment to it than it normally would have been. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if the game was
Well, I mean,
mediocre
part of-
and then it didn't have all its potential, I'd be like,
Yeah,
all right,
I mean,
well,
like,
whatever.
part of it is, like, just the straight-up potential that we know from Bioshock 1, and part of it is just that, like, it was such a highly anticipated game that they spent a lot of time on, and that they pushed back repeatedly. Like, part of it would be, if it was rushed out and it was sort of, like, fine, it would have been like, oh, well, like, if they had had more time, they could have done a better, but, like, not to say that, like, this isn't like Duke Nukem Forever or something, but it's like they took their time on this. They spent a lot of time working on this.
Yeah.
And it honestly doesn't show in the story at all to me.
Yeah.
Because, like, there's a lot of things that you could change really easily to make it better. Maybe not the best story you've ever heard, but,
mean,
like, it's trouble.
I could imagine us spending a few hours sitting down and rehashing the storytelling.
Yeah.
And the way that Elizabeth and generally things are introduced to you.
Yeah.
And I feel like we could fix the problems with it.
I
Like,
mean,
not saying that we're amazing writers, but I feel like we could make it at least a lot more palatable.
I mean, like, I don't mean to sound conceited, but I feel like I could do a much better job with the blocks they put in place.
Yeah. Oh well. Still was a fun game.
I mean, it's a good game. It's like, it was fun to play. I'm not like chomping at the bit to like replay it. Which is a shame because I feel like they seem to have put a lot of effort into making those like modes for replayability.
Yeah,
But the story doesn't support it that well.
I don't know. I might try 1999 mode
Yeah.
just for the fun of it. Well, the masochistic fun of it.
Yeah. We should stream it.
Oh, that would be
Stream the whole thing.
a really interesting time.
Yeah.
So now we've got all this stuff. Does anyone actually want to watch this, you think?
I don't know. This goes on for fucking ever. I feel like we made our point. I don't know. You just wanna... We can, I suppose we can see if anything else interesting happens and fast forward to it.
Yeah, alright. If this is interesting at the end, we'll skip ahead. Something interesting?
No? Oh, something
Oh,
interesting.
Something interesting. 1893. Oh, can you move?
Oh, I can move. I was not expecting that.
Go take
Probably through here. It's the clown from It!
No.
Oh, seriously?
Really?
Oh my god. Well, there you go. That's Bioshock Infinite.
That did nothing for me. That was
that
just
literally
annoying.
just made me mad, is what that did.
Frustrated phase.
I mean, it's not as if we had like a super concrete ending that we needed to make ambiguous there. It was already pretty damn well ambiguous before.
Yeah. Were we supposed to be like, oh, maybe something's different? The world is just too complicated for us to make anything
Well,
of it.
it's also like it was said, there's no fucking consistency. It's not like seeing that tells us like, oh, like because of some detail of this world, we know that this is like where we started. Like this is Booker's actual timeline or something. It's like that could literally be anywhere.
Yeah.
It doesn't tell us anything.
Alright, well, thank you for watching Bioshock Infinite. I hope you enjoyed it.
I also hope that you enjoyed it.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Join us for our next Let's Plays.
They will also be good and interesting. And maybe have better story.
Hopefully better written than this game. Bye!
Thank you for watching.